Hey everyone, good to see you again. Well, not really see you, but you know what I mean. I'm here for my next installment of poetry. Today I'll be reading 3 poems. Content warning, there's a poem that is an erotica poem and a poem about residential school. So the first poem I wrote in 1993. It's called The Passionate Flame. First, the stillness. The quiet is oppressive. Anticipation, waiting for the moment. Then the spark, the life given. The flame slowly starts its journey, the heat rising, becoming stifling. Flames growing higher and more intense. A frenzy of forms melding into one. A hard and driving energy, flames licking the surface of objects they possess, never yielding to the softer things, driving hard. The highest peak is reached, a point of climax for the flame. Slowly, the energy recedes, a peaceful calm is moving in, and one last sigh before the flame is extinguished. This next piece I wrote in 2001, and it's an imaginary conversation I had with my grandmother. My grandmother is Mohawk, and she went to the residential school in Brantford, the Mohawk School, otherwise known as the Mush Hole, because they're given mush all the time for meals. My grandmother didn't talk about her experiences. She did, just before she died, she mentioned something to me, but it wasn't something she wanted to talk about, which is understandable. It's called I'd Rather Not Talk About It. Grandmother, tell me about when you were a little girl. Why do you ask? She said. Well, I want to know what life was like in the community. I'd rather not talk about it, was her reply. Oh, come on, grandmother. Did you go to gatherings and make corn soup? I don't want to talk about it, she said. Did the elders tell you creation stories and pass on the teachings? I really don't want to talk about it, she sighed. But grandmother, I want to learn about my heritage, our culture, what it means to be a Mohawk woman of the Wolf Clan. She gave me that look I was so used to seeing, and I knew what her response would be. So I said, Grandmother, can't you tell me anything? She was quiet for a moment, and then she said, I can tell you that I went to residential school where I grew up fast. I did not go to gatherings or learn how to make traditional meals. I was told stories about God and learned the teachings of the Anglican Church. I lost my language, my heritage, and my culture in those days. Therefore, I have no answers to your questions, granddaughter. I decided to end the questions. Instead, I sat quietly beside her, letting her know that I'd heard her answers. This last piece I wrote in 2003. It's called The Shape of Pain and Healing. I watch as the clouds cast shadows over the landscape. From this altitude, the shadows seem small and dispersed. On the ground, they seem massive and concentrated. These shadows remind me of the shadows cast over my soul, my being, shadows that touch me in a holistic manner, affecting my mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional self. Shadows that at times seem so small, yet when I ground myself and take a closer look are actually massive. Some shadows have been placed upon me by others. Some shadows are of my own creation. Clouds do not just disappear. Neither will the hurt and pain that has affected my life and the lives of my ancestors. Hurts need to be named and healed. Pain needs to be honored and understood. I don't want to let the shadows consume my being. I can't let the shadows consume my soul. Just as one looks at a cloud and names what takes shape, I must name what has shaped my shadows and reshape the impact of their creation. Understanding will allow for forgiveness of others. Understanding will allow for forgiveness of self. From understanding and forgiveness, changes will take shape. Changes that will lessen the density and reach of these shadows. The shadows will always be a part of me, just as the clouds will always be part of the sky. I've suffered for these shadows. They have shaped my life and made me who I am today. For that, I am truly grateful. I have to own my actions. No one else will or can do this for me. I have people in my life that can support me as I navigate the shadows. People who understand that at times I need to dwell in these dark places. People who know that such dwelling will lead to healing, healing for myself and for future generations. Thanks for listening, everyone.